Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 222, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. I'm Zachy Hassan, and I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
Brian, is this like the shortest gap ever between like regular episodes of this thing?
It very well may be. I mean, when we ended the last episode, we did sort of think of this as a part two of sorts, right?
Yeah.
So, didn't that used to happen with TV movies or something? They would sort of split them up over nights during the week. You know, you'd watch like the first half of Titanic on Sunday, and then the second half would be on Thursday or something. I think that's what this is like.
There you go. We are like Titanic. Mm-hmm. The billion-dollar successful blockbuster, not the horrific human tragedy.
Correct.
Or maybe the inverse. I don't know. I don't know how people think of this show.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens by the end of this.
People been, yeah, exactly. we don't know what's coming. So what have you seen in the last, 2 days, Brian?
Well, actually, just because I mentioned it last time, but I did finish my book, The Devil in the White City.
Okay.
Which it's worth mentioning. It felt like an accomplishment, so I'm going to mark it.
These days, reading is an accomplishment.
I beginning last year, I started reading a little bit more at the end of the year, and now I've made it a goal to at least read one book a month, and it's been going well, and I am really loving it. It's I just find, sometimes you have like a pocket of time, and it tends to be I'll take my phone out and flip through Instagram, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's also, if that's all I'm doing with my pockets of time, I mean, that's just vapor going into the air. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm like, well, you know what? I could read a chapter or two of my book. And with every one that I finish, I just feel this real sense of satisfaction. And so, yeah, and this one was really good. I'd mentioned it before, but it's about the Chicago World's Fair in 1893, and it's just amazing how much happened at that fair and all the things that we still now, I didn't know the Museum of Science and Industry is one of the buildings that was built for it. And a lot of the early development of Chicago, I mean, Chicago in that time was just, they called it the Black City, where it was just gas and, not a lot of light and horse manure everywhere and just smelly, and people thought of it as far inferior to New York as some sort of major city. And this event really helped them to look at themselves differently and see what was possible, and help catapult it into the city that it is now. And the zipper was introduced at this fair, and look at that pancake mix and all sorts of just random things that we just know. It's just amazing. All these things happened in this one big event.
Look at that. Chicago to the world, you're welcome.
Right.
What you're describing, we really were the Shelbyville.
We really were. I mean, and that's why it's called the Second City, right?
Yeah.
But that was really good. And anyway, but in terms of watching stuff, my movie club, our little Netflix party thing we do on Sunday, we watched The White Tiger. And have you heard of this?
I have not.
It's really interesting. I heard someone mention it on a podcast, and I didn't know a lot about it. But it's based on a book, not a true story. Even though when you watch it, it almost feels like it could be a true story. But basically, the summary is: an ambitious Indian driver uses his wit and cunning to escape from poverty and rise to the top. So it's based on a New York Times bestseller. And this is really, it feels sort of like Goodfellas in a way, where it's like this real ambitious, rise up story. But the way that the main character chooses to do this is a little murky, and so you find yourself rooting for him, but at times you're like, oh no, don't do that. He's a very complicated character, and he ends up becoming a driver for these really wealthy people, and it deals with caste in over in India. And so I was listening to a review of it with Slash Film, actually, and they were talking about how they felt a little wary of it being the representation of how caste works and whatnot over there.
Right.
And I think that's absolutely understandable. And I went into it not expecting necessarily a lesson, but just using something that's going on and imagining what if this person tried to do this to rise to the top. And he uses not really great methods. So I would say it reminds me of Goodfellas in a way where it's like you're interested by what this person is doing and how they're trying to rise above their means, but what they're doing is not honorable. So it's good to know that and not look at that as like, this is what you need to do. Because I think a couple times the character even says like, this is the only way to rise above your station. And it's like murder, and you're like, no, that's not true. But with those things in mind, I did find it really engaging, but it also does clearly feel like it's based on a book in that the plot doesn't feel super laser focused. And you can tell that, for this part of the book, it was kind of about this. And for this part of the book, it was kind of about that. And it weaves its way along to where it's ultimately going. But so knowing that about the pace, I was compelled the whole way through. And all of us, I think, when it was over, said that we enjoyed it. So I think that's on Netflix.
And what's the runtime?
Just over 2 hours. I don't have it in front of me. But I would say like 2 minutes. Or I'm sorry, 2 hours, 5 minutes, something like that. Yeah, 2 hours, 5 minutes. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. As you talked about it, I realized I think I either saw the trailer or I saw the first couple minutes of it.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, like people looking for that sort of rise and fall sort of Goodfellas-y movie. It's just, it's interesting seeing that in like a whole different culture and just.
It's directed by Ramin Bahrani, who did 99 Homes a few years ago.
Right.
Which I really liked that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With Michael Shannon, right?
Michael Shannon, Andrew Garfield, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't, but it's so vivid in my mind. Maybe it was you talking about it, or.
Yeah, definitely give it a look if you have access to it. I think you'd enjoy it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, like I remember it was like on my radar, and maybe I just somehow never got it. It was sort of like what was that Oscar Isaac movie and Jessica Chastain?
Oh, yeah. Something Cruel Year.
The most violent year.
The most violent year.
Yeah, that was one of those movies where I remember you saying it was good, and I love that director, and it just took me years, and I finally got to it, and I was really glad I did. So I imagine, at some point I'll get to it. And then also on Netflix, in an entirely other vein, I watched this movie called Bad Trip.
Okay.
You heard of this?
No.
So, this stars Eric Andre and Lil Rel, who apparently, this is where I'm going to sound like an old man, I know them from like memes, but I've never seen the show that those memes actually originate from. I don't know about you. I don't even know. Like
I have not. No.
It feels like a very Adult Swimmy.
Yes.
But I don't know. But anyway, they've made this movie, and it's in the vein of something like Bad Grandpa, where it's a narrative, but it is linked together by jackassy sort of hidden camera shenanigans and the response by real life people.
Okay.
And I gotta admit, I kind of have a soft spot for Jackass. Like, you think it's something I would maybe even like move on from or grow out of, but whenever a new Jackass movie comes out, I watch it and I just laugh my butt off. So I'm kind of primed for something like this. And I gotta say, it was pretty darn funny. And you could even sort of compare it to Borat in a way, even though I would say this is even less story driven. But it also sort of straddles that line between being hilarious, but also you feel a little bad that they're kind of traumatizing real people who did not ask for this. Like some of the situations, I'll spoil the first one because it was so funny. It's like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, but basically, the Eric Andre character is working at like an auto shop, and he's talking to the guy whose car he's cleaning, and he just asks for like, hey, can you just give me a hand, flip on that vacuum? And the person will flip on the vacuum, and then the hose attaches to his like jumpsuit and rips it off, and he's entirely naked.
Oh my God.
And as that moment happens, there's this woman that the Eric Andre character has said is his crush, who's there, and he's naked, so he can't go up to her, but he doesn't want her to leave. So he asks this real life person, please make sure that woman doesn't leave. like stall her, and then he, completely naked, will jump in the stranger's car trying to hide.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, and then you see this person, he's so nice trying to get this woman not to go, but like, and he like takes his coat off and gives it to this guy to wrap around himself. And like, it's all of that. But then it gets more and more intense. There's one gag in the middle that just goes, for me, was just too gross, which is like, I can't broad recommend this because I think a lot of people are going to go, what the hell did you just recommend, Brian? But like, that aside, like it was just a lot of just sort of creating chaos and watching how a crowd reacts to it and whether or not they interact with it or they try to intervene or help or run away. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I laughed pretty hard through this thing. So if that sounds up your alley, like if you like the Jackass films, and a nice thing that they did during the credits was they showed almost every gag when they revealed to the people that it was a gag, which is a relief, I think, for the audience. But also, I was like, that's genius. Because these people are probably really upset. But once you let the air out and you have them laughing and they go, I can't believe I fell for that. How did you do that? You fell from the roof, but that was, there's a cable, ha ha ha. And then you're like, yeah, sign the release. Like while while you're in like a great mood. So yeah, like it's like a total, like I say, I mean, it's just it's under 90 minutes, I think. And if you don't mind something a little gross and, like I say, jackassy and kind of, you cackle at all this craziness. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
Real quick, I wanted to recommend a documentary that just dropped on Hulu about WeWork.
Man, this is like on the top of my to-watch list. So I'm really curious what you thought of it.
Yeah, I've realized I have kind of a soft spot for these exposés about these doofus cult leaders, it feels like. Whether we're talking about Billy McFarland or Elizabeth Holmes or Adam Newman, who founded this company WeWork, which was basically a collective workspace company. And at one point, it was valued at $47 billion.
What?
Which is just abject insanity.
It's just office space.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
wow, okay.
It went from $47 billion to big old goose egg. And so this doc kind of gets into that. So this character, Adam Newman, it's weird because the documentary spends a lot of time with people who are like, he had this way and he would just win you over, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you hear him talk, you're like, this guy sounds like a used car salesman, Right. So there's this weird disconnect between the guy and the way he was perceived. But I mean, I guess if a Billy McFarland can happen, if an Elizabeth Holmes can happen, this guy just falls right within that wheelhouse, So it's part of that very specific subgenre of documentaries.
Yeah.
Where you go on this roller coaster ride all the way up and all the way down. And I think as a window into that, it's insightful. It's certainly instructive.
It's funny, going back to that book that I just finished, the World's Fair thing is, there's a parallel story about a serial killer who was running a hotel. Okay. Where a lot of people who have come for the fair are staying. And this person is just so hard to conceive of because he's exactly this type of personality where people say he had these sort of like kind eyes, and he had this way of talking where he would touch your shoulder. And he bought this building and he ordered all this furniture and he never paid for it. And they're like, how did he do this? It's like he just talked his way out of it.
Amazing.
And people would come and build, construction workers would come and he wouldn't have the money to pay for it, but he'd tell these stories and he'd win them over, and, they'd be like, okay. And then he wouldn't pay for any of the, and you're like, I want to meet this person. Like, how could someone be that convincing? Huh. And it's just so interesting because that was over 100 years ago. And here we are describing, you just mentioned 3 other people who have apparently those qualities, and it just continues.
Who this is a story you might find interesting, and you can find a story of her online. She's the Soho grifter, excuse me.
Okay.
Her name is Anna Delvey, Delvey, which is a fictitious name. Her actual real name is Anna Sorokin.
Okay.
And she just moves to New York. This is like about 10 years ago, and pretends she's an heiress. And she just takes up in like this penthouse suite in a hotel.
Yeah.
And they just like give it to her.
Right.
Because she's like, I'm an heiress.
Right.
And she's like, just charges everything to the room. She's not paying anything.
Right.
And I'm like, there's just something like, look her up. There's a great like long form story that's like one of those things where you have like a cup of warm tea while you read it, you know, going through it. And I know you'll find it really interesting, but the fact that it's these people have the balls to just take this massive swing.
Yep.
And if anything, our failure, like people like you and me, normies, is we're just like, well, that's wrong. Like,
right. Our morality has failed us.
that's where we screwed up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But there's just so many of these, you know?
You know, with that woman you just mentioned, it makes me think if there's some sort of lesson in like how we treat those people. You know, like, why did you allow that? Just because she said she was this, that was suddenly okay, but you wouldn't do that for someone else, you know?
Yep. Yeah. It's freaking bizarre, man.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's so many stories like this. You know, I mean, it does feel like social media sort of allows these people to get to maximize their grifts before, you know, before the piper comes calling, you know?
Right.
I think that's part of it, you know?
Well, going back to the WeWork thing, I mean, do you feel, was this worth checking out, or is this, like, is it beyond, like, an article on it?
I think it's worth watching. I think it's worth, if I have a critique, I think they're not as harsh on Adam Newman as I think they should have been.
Okay.
But as a window into this sort of insanity. Yeah, I mean, I feel completely disconnected from the mindset, you know, that allows something like this to just proliferate, right? So I think it's instructive in that sense. And I followed the story purely as an outside observer, like car wreck fascination, because I remember when it IPO'd, and I was like, 47 billion? Are you crazy? You know? And then, you know, very shortly thereafter, it just dropped like a stone. So that makes it a story that's worth looking into.
Okay.
You know?
I'll check that out.
All right. Let's take a short break, and then we'll come back right after this. And we are back. And here's a message I got on Twitter, Brian. This is from Omar Sayed, and he says, this is in reference to, you know, we were talking about the last Blockbuster.
Right.
And that got us reminiscing about just the history of VHS and whatnot. So we got a recommendation here. He says, check out a documentary called Rewind This.
Ooh.
This is from 2013. It's about VHS tapes.
I just wrote it down.
Yeah.
I'm in.
That sounds like something that would be up our alley, given what we were talking about.
That sounds like something I would love. Thank you for the recommendation, Omar.
Here's another letter. We got this from John Shanahan, who emailed us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. And he says, hey guys, insane to realize I've listened to you guys for 7 years. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We've been doing this more than 7 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that this is the first time I've reached out. Love the show and look forward to it each week and the commentaries when you squeeze them in. As I was watching Disney Plus this morning with my 4 and 5-year-old, the question of the future of children's programming seems like a perfect discussion for the two of you. The traditional format of TV had a lot of episodes which squeezed in 2 stories in 22 minutes or the shorts currently on D+. As someone who writes for that industry, and as a parent of children spanning so many ages, what does children's programming look like in a vertical streaming world? That combined with Disney's need to have consistent and nonstop content for the streaming service where children are a primary audience, will it look like Bluey, which is 50-plus episode seasons because every episode is around 7 minutes long, or something we're not seeing? Netflix invests heavily here too, as they see the importance of keeping parents hooked, and anything is better than letting preteens loose on YouTube Kids. Yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way, by the way. Anyway, would love to hear your thoughts. Keep up the amazing work. Looking forward to getting back to the movies this year. Thank you, John, for that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Brian, you work in the industry that is children's entertainment.
Yeah.
So I'll let you handle this while I lie down for a few minutes. No.
Well, it's funny because I have questions for you too. Real quick, when you said that about YouTube Kids, and you seem sort of like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like what is that content like versus the content they may see on like Disney or something?
It's just digital noise. It's just people screaming. And I mean it's
sort of like that Fred kid from several years ago, like that.
Yeah.
Like where there's like less structure to it, and it's more just sort of a.
It's. I would rather let my kids watch regular YouTube than let them watch YouTube Kids.
Okay,
that's kind of where I'm at.
All right. I mean, is it like episodes? Like,
no,
are there stories?
I mean, from what I've seen, it admittedly my exposure is not voluminous. It's just a lot of the user generated content is just nonsense. And again, it's I'd just rather, if I'm gonna have my kids watching TV, I'd rather have them watching some like actual, cartoons and stuff than whatever is on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But, when it comes to regular YouTube, like my oldest, he's 14 now, and for the longest time I had YouTube locked on my TV. So, like, if you were going to watch it, you could only enter a code. But he's like 14 now, and so I'm like, all right, I'll let you watch. And it's honestly, it's I have to balance my distaste for the stuff that he watches, which is usually like people playing video game stuff.
Yeah.
Versus me being like, an old man who's not the target demographic for that. So it's like, I have to be like, all right, what am I gaining by like preventing him from watching this? Versus just letting him and just me, I'll take the ulcers.
Sure.
I guess that's the calculation I've made,
Yeah, or realizing whatever it was when we were kids, I don't even know. For some reason, the first thing I can think of is Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe our parents were like, what?
Yeah, right.
But even now I'm like, Pee-wee!
Right.
But for them, it's this, and it's, it's strange and scary, and I don't understand it, but that's that.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
They'll feel that way, and then their kids will watch something else.
And the cosmic ballet goes on.
Yeah, but that's an interesting point that John brought up. With the this was sort of new to me when I got into kids television, was the whole within 22 minutes you either have, I guess I don't know exactly what it is, like 7 minutes. Like Bluey. Bluey has 3 stories, I believe. Okay. I know Puppy Dog Pals has 2, and that was sort of a new concept to me. And when I would go out and pitch for other shows and stuff, people would always ask me, "So is this like two 12 minutes, or is this, whatever?" And I'd be like, "What are you talking about? Of course it's 22 minutes. Like, I'm just so used to the idea of like a cartoon, like, but now that I think about it, even when we were younger, I mean,
Garfield.
Tiny Toons had its segments. Yeah. Garfield had its segments. Eek the Cat, if I remember correctly, like just a lot of the stuff that we watched, I think was broken up into segments. And I think it just depends on the type of stories you're telling. Some stories, I mean, certainly for Puppy Dog Pals, where the audience is so young, you just want to keep them engaged with whatever thematic thing you're doing, and I think I don't feel encumbered by the time limit. It feels good to me. But as you get older, you get into sort of like on Netflix, like that Jurassic Park show. I think that makes more sense that those are like a actual 22-minute story. Right. Just they're a little more sophisticated for a little bit of an older audience and whatnot. And I don't know exactly how Disney Channel works, but I know sometimes they'll sort of put the episodes, like break them up. And if they have like a little pocket, they can just air one segment of a puppy episode, so they only need the 7 or 8 minutes or whatever it is. You know, I don't know. Like I don't. I guess as I'm answering this out loud, I'm realizing that this occurred even more when we were younger than I would have thought. So it just sort of feels like a continuation of that. But I do remember watching the Saturday morning cartoons, and I loved Muppet Babies, which I also think was split up in segments. And then when the Smurfs would come on, I couldn't do it because it was an hour long. And when a lot of people seem surprised I didn't watch Smurfs, but all I remember was thinking, yeah, but it's really long.
That's really funny.
So I don't know
but it was in segments.
See, I don't even know. It was a lot of Smurfs for me. Like I was ready for the next thing. It was for you with your kids and their attention spans and their interests. I mean, what do you notice anything about that with the segments or how much they can, the different the ages of your kids and what they're willing to sit through?
I think, like, it's funny. I'm thinking about it now. Like, what are their, again, my oldest, he's past the age of like watching like cartoons and things,
Right. He's watching ER with you.
He watches ER and NYPD Blue. Like that's he watches that with us every night. So he's maybe not the best example, but like my daughter, she's 4. She loves Puppy Dog Pals. That's a recent introduction to her life, by the way.
Oh,
and she loves Muppet Babies. I put on the classic Muppet Babies, some of that on YouTube, and she's like, "That's not Muppet Babies."
Huh.
So she's kind of a snob. This one.
I have friends that work over on that, and they're great people. So I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, and I think that all the Disney Plus shows are kind of in that sweet spot. Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying to think, like in terms of their attention spans, you mentioned the Jurassic Park show. They do like that. My older one likes that.
Mm-hmm.
That show, by the way, created by Zach Stentz, who, I've had him on Nostalgia Theater multiple times.
Oh yeah.
So kind of cool to see him succeeding there. He was one of the producers on the Terminator TV series.
Oh, that's right. Right, I have listened to that. Yeah.
That interview, by the way, was awesome because it was actually in service of an article that I was writing for the Chronicle. This is like fall of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those things where I got a call at the last minute, and they're like, "Hey, we got this, like a couple columns opened up unplanned. Can you give us something to fill that space
mm-hmm.
by like, this is like Thursday, by like, Monday morning."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, how about something about the Terminator TV show?" They're like, "Yeah, sure," because Dark Fate was about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I messaged Zach on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm doing this article. Can I talk to you for like half an hour and just get some quotes?" He's like, "No problem. How about tomorrow?"
Wow, great.
Like right away, and suddenly, boom, I got like a sourced article about the behind the scenes of this TV show,
That's great.
It's amazing how that stuff works out. So kids, watch Terminator. That's my point. No, yeah, I think kids' tastes honestly have not changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think my kids gravitate towards the same stuff. They like Looney Tunes. They like Garfield. They like, even if it's different versions,
mm-hmm.
it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I find.
Yeah. Well, it's funny again, I'm just thinking even more about it because I know Garfield was in 3 segments, right? It was Garfield, the U.S. Acres, and then Garfield again. So
another Garfield, that's right.
Thing,
yeah.
Like Bluey. And then, if I'm remembering right, I think Tiny Toons was maybe 2.
Tiny Toons was 2, yeah. I think it was like 2 11-minute segments.
Which is like Puppy, yeah. And it's funny, I have been watching Bluey a little bit on my own. I don't even have kids. And, and I went on this like solo retreat to Big Bear where I was on my own. And I think I hardly turned on the TV, but when it was on, I just kept stopping on Bluey. And it's just, those stories totally suit their length. You know what I mean? So having 3 of them in there felt right, and yeah, I kind of like that. I think that just don't try to stretch it and don't try to truncate it either. And I don't know.
There we go.
Yeah, does that feel like an answer?
It feels like an answer to me. Thank you for that, John. And here is another note that we got from...
Yeah, thank you, John.
This is from Spencer Toyson, who says, "Hey, Zach and Brian, you Spielberg sickos." Which, that is accurate.
Yes.
Go on. There is something to be said about consistency, and that something would be 2 words. Movie film. That is 1 word, Spencer. It's 1 word. Come on.
Funny.
Well, I guess that's true. Oh, he said it. He said that. It's fine.
I was going to say, he actually spelled it as 1 word.
I guess that's 2 words conjoined at the hip. You're going to like this, Brian. Much like yourselves.
Aw.
Yeah, that's nice. Both of you have helped me and presumably others in ways I hope you guys can understand. The humor, the love, and the attention to detail with every film, show, or catch-up banter is a relief to whatever stressors we all have at home. Personally, I'm thankful to have you guys in my life no matter how parasocial the relationship is. I've had conversations with Zachy, and I feel like I've had a multitude of conversations with Brian, even though he has no social media presence on Twitter. I swear I'm not bitter, but come on, Brian. This guy keistered his Twitter and thinks he can get off that easy. Yeah, right. Anyway, slightly not movie related, but his music is peppered all over film/TV. So I ask you, Brian, thoughts on Eddie Van Halen and his impact musically inside or outside of film? I know you're a jammer and would love to know your thoughts about his music. Sorry for the long email, but that's what happens when one of you gets a Twitter and dips without any warning. By the way, much love. The Keister Bunny, Spencer.
The Keister Bunny.
First of all, we should explain the Keister. That's a reference to our commentary track for Superman 3, where we mentioned that Superman magically shows up at the end of the movie with a jar of acid that was nowhere to be seen earlier. And Brian said, where did that come from? And I said, very logically, given the evidence presented on screen, obviously he keistered the acid.
Yeah.
And thus began a meme that is in no danger of dying out. And I'm very grateful for that.
I love it. It's so perfect. Man, I love that. That was, man. So, okay. So the Eddie Van Halen thing, that's a really interesting question. Cause I would say I like Eddie Van Halen and I appreciate him more than I'm even like ultimately wholly familiar with him. I think that has a lot to do with my age. I came up in the 80s, and I would really say I started discovering my own things.
You're kind of a tweener, Brian. I mean, we both are. Right?
We are, yeah. So I feel like obviously a connection with the 80s, but I don't feel as connected to 80s music as I do to 90s music. Like it was sort of like Boyz II Men and MC Hammer, I think were like maybe the first tapes I bought on my own kind of a thing. And then Nirvana was like the first band that felt like...
You're more of a Creed guy.
Creed, yeah. No offense, Creed. But not so much. But I never understood this huge backlash to them.
I want to mention this Creed story because whenever am I going to do this? Back when we were expecting our very first kid, my wife and I, this is like fall of 2006, I think, we went to a birthing class. I think you know this story.
Oh, yes.
We went to a birthing class, and so it was like a 6-week session, whatever it was. And at the very end, the instructor was like, "Now we're gonna watch videos of children being born."
Right.
And let me first say, this is goddamn horrifying.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I was a grown ass adult, and I'm still nursing scars from this, right? So now, the process of life coming to this earth, obviously, it's a lot, and I'm sure whoever made the video wanted to make it less emotionally scarring. So they cut these babies being born and placentas flying out into the world to Arms Wide Open by Creed.
That's funny enough on its own, but picturing the reverse and seeing your face to this is,
Now, the unplanned aftermath of this is whenever I hear Arms Wide Open on the radio, my body goes into even more of a full body dry heave.
Right.
Than it used to.
Okay, so Creed is just completely tainted for you.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
No. Well, so yeah. So I would say like early '90s rock is really a touchstone for me, like Soundgarden and all those sorts of bands. But like Van Halen was always on the radio, right?
Right.
And I like Van Halen on the radio, like I know Panama and all those songs. So it's, I wish I had like a greater sort of knowledge of them, but they've just always been a band that's been sort of within like the culture that I have liked, that like I'll stop on the radio for, but for me personally, it hasn't gone much deeper than that, and that's the only reason. But when I think about them in movies, the first thing I think of actually is Back to the Future, right? With Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan waking his dad up, and then which is funny too because on the tape it says Edward Van Halen because I think the band didn't give the rights, but he was cool with it or something.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know it's much more complicated than that and interesting, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but there was something about that, yeah. And then, of course, Superbad. Actually, I remember Panama when they're doing donuts in the the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they're awesome, and I've come around a lot. I used to be one of those sort of snobs that would be like, well, their band doesn't have any instruments, kind of a person, and I like really appreciate bands that write their own songs, and I would still say I have a greater affinity for those musicians because I think that's really, really hard, and it's really awesome what those people accomplish and are able to do. But I've come a long way. I mean, I like all sorts of music now. But I bring that up just to say that, I mean, the musicianship, good Lord, of Van Halen. I mean, and not just Eddie, but I mean, like David Lee Roth and as a singer and a frontman, but also, I mean, his brother, and I'm forgetting, Alex, I think, the drummer, incredible drummer. So, yeah. I mean, what's your relationship with Van Halen?
I have no relationship with Van Halen.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
He seemed like a lovely person. I did not. I completely passed by. I think what you're describing is reflective of me, but even more so, where it like. Unless I heard it in a movie, I just didn't seek out that music.
Yeah, sure. Or it's just like the radio. You know what I mean? Like it was always on the radio for most of my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. Just incidentally, I saw, how your Instagram collects things they think you will like. It's so funny. My Instagram, that page is like Simpsons memes and like drummers. But in the mix of that, I saw this interview with Eddie Van Halen from the mid 80s. And I think it was Kurt Loder or someone talking to him. And he was saying something about like, what's it like being a rock god? Like you're like a god on the guitar. And you can see him, like he kind of smiles at it and he just immediately dismisses it. He's like, dude, like I'm just like a guy. Like, like I play guitar and I love it and I'm a misfit and whatever. And it was just kind of cool to see him brush that off. Where you could see some people be like, well, I don't know. Let me think about that.
Yeah, right.
And he just, I don't know a ton about him, but he did seem pretty down to earth. And with his recent passing, all accounts, sounds like he was a pretty cool guy. So it's awesome when you see people that exceptionally talented and they somehow remain grounded like that.
I'm disappointed he did not take the Ghostbusters advice, which is when someone asks if you're a god, you say yes.
Right, that's right. Maybe this is pre that movie.
Pre Ghostbusters, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. The other day I was scrolling through the channels or something, and my kid's like, "Yeah, we landed on MTV," and he's like, "What does the M stand for?" He had no idea.
Are you serious?
I'm not making that up. I'm like, "Oh, music television." He's like, "What does that mean?" I was like, "Oh, they used to play music videos." He's like the things on YouTube. I was like, "All right, sit down, boy. Let me explain to you." Explain the whole history of MTV.
That's amazing. That feels like something that would happen in a TV show where they're trying to make a point.
Yeah,
but it actually happened.
I mean, he has no concept. He's like, he's genuinely asking, like, what is the M?
Yeah.
So, because when you look at it now, it's like this was like a Jeopardy question. Like, this channel is the home of this TV series 16 and Pregnant. And Amino was like, what is that? I'm like, what channel would that be on? Of course, MTV, right?
Right.
Like what?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was like early 2000s. I feel like they made it to the 2000s, right? Where you had TRL with Carson Daly and all of that. You know, Britney Spears and all those guys. But then it was just like after that.
Wasn't TRL VH1 or am I misremembering?
I'm fairly certain it was MTV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point they just started doing drama shows and comedy shows and everything but music.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, I mean, none of the cable stations, like none of their names line up with what they're doing anymore. It feels like.
Right.
You
History
know?
Channel and all their alien shows.
Yeah, you know, AMC is airing like, you know, things that are objectively not classics.
Yeah, like Dumb and Dumber or something, you know, on American movie classics. Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. So anyway, I enjoyed that question. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. And in regards to Brian being on social media, I've run the whole gamut because there was a while there I was like, come on, Brian, tweet more.
Yeah.
You're nice. People will like you. And now I'm like, you know what, Brian? Just you stay away and spare your beautiful mind.
I definitely feel that way. I see the value in it, and I get updates or what am I trying to say? Notifications. And so every now and then, because I have it on my phone, and sometimes I'll see something you've posted, Zachy, or whatever, and I totally enjoy it, but I just don't see where I fit into that space. And I also could see where, as I was saying earlier with Instagram, I love looking at it because it's just a lot of pictures and things people are seeing, and that appeals to me. But I could see myself getting lost in all these threads and conversations, and I just don't know where that would fit in with me right now.
There is an immediacy that Twitter offers that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And also what I'll say is, as I've gotten older, I've realized that I don't need to chime in on most discussions.
Right.
And if somebody comes into my feed and starts spewing nonsense, I don't owe them a response. Mm-hmm. And that I find is just good for my mental health.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I can say genuinely, without irony, I enjoy my Twitter because the people I interact with are great.
Right.
And I have good interactions, and I try. And honestly, I mean, this goes to honestly the marching orders of our show, which is like, let's just try to be positive.
Yeah.
Not to say we're not going to call stuff out when it needs to be called out, but we're not going to dwell in the negativity.
Yeah. And you know,
yeah.
Along those lines, I imagine we'll get to this with news, but a business, I won't get ahead of it, but a business in Los Angeles closed recently, and it made me very sad. But then I would see these articles where it would post all these Twitter reactions, and there is something very nice about seeing people comment on the thing that you're connected with, and you can sort of relate, and just, I don't know, it's almost like a group huddle with people, you know, that are interested in the same thing. And I definitely think there's something cool about that.
I agree with that. You know, I think there are people who are on Twitter explicitly to pee in the pool.
Sure.
And to ruin other people's good time. And I'm kind of like, you can either engage with that or just ignore it.
Right.
And I view it as like, if this is a microcosm of real life, you can be walking down the street and see all kinds of shitty behavior. Mm-hmm. Like people just acting the fool, but you don't need to go up and be like, hey, what are you doing? Right? Mm-hmm. You just keep walking. Well, Twitter is you keep walking.
Right.
And it just makes life easier.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm endlessly fascinated by that. When if you post something, you'd be like, hey, I just saw this movie, I really liked it. And somebody would be like, yeah, that movie sucks. And I'm like, imagine doing that in real life.
Right.
You know, it's funny because I said this to you. I think I sent you a screen grab of this a couple of weeks ago. This happened. I think we talked about this, where I had just watched Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I tweeted about it. I was like, you know, I just rewatched this, and you know, I don't know, I still really like this movie.
Yeah. And
some rando comes in and he's like, and you call yourself a film critic? Right? And normally I'd just be like, mute, move on. And for whatever reason, this time I was like, who is this person? Right? Mm-hmm. And I clicked over the profile, and it's not like a sock puppet account. It's like, appears to be like an actual person. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, all I said was like, it's kind of a weird way to interact with someone for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And this person, to their credit, was like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'll be damned.
Yeah, I forgot. Now I remember that you sent this to me. Yeah, it was very like, you know what? You're right. I apologize. Like, it's very human.
Like, I appreciated the apology. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, my point is the instinct to attack.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
like in any real world context, you would just not say anything.
Right, like if you walked out with a Slurpee and you're like, I love this Slurpee, and someone just slapped it out of your hands. Right. Like, why would you do that?
Right.
Let him enjoy the Slurpee.
So that stuff I find sort of just as a, you know, as an indicator of human behavior, I find interesting. And I genuinely, I try to be better than that.
Yeah.
Not to say I always succeed, because I probably have on occasion gotten in the mud, but genuinely I'm kind of like, look, I want to model the behavior on here that I would display in real life.
Right.
Truthfully, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it work for me. And what I would say, and maybe I'm speaking on your behalf, Brian, but I would say that if one were to tag you, you'd probably respond.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. People have tagged me or asked me something, and I'll always respond to that for sure.
So think of Brian as like the head of the Quickie Mart company in that Simpsons episode, where you have to make the journey have 3 questions prepared, and those 3 he'll answer.
Yes, exactly.
So just approach it that way.
Is this really Brian's Twitter account? Yes.
Really?
Really?
You? All right, let's take another break. Come back with some headlines. And we are back. And Brian, why don't you break the RIP news to start out?
Yeah, well, this came as a surprise, and you were the first person to send me the link, and then many people sent me this link. But ArcLight cinemas and Pacific theaters are closing permanently. And that was a shock because, when this whole past year with the pandemic, I know there was a lot of discussion about movie theaters, and AMC was talking about, having no money, and will theaters even come back? And it seemed like at this point, with Godzilla and King Kong making really, really good box office recently, it felt like, and the vaccine is here now, and it just felt like things are going to start opening, we'll go back. And it was just sort of shocking in this moment then to see ArcLight being like, well, we won't be able to join you, And I think what made it's hard to explain, like what made it particularly sad. I have a lot of personal feelings and memories and things with ArcLight, but like I said earlier, it was fascinating to see on my Facebook wall in these articles where they were collecting tweets. There was a lot of people feeling the same way that I did. I mean, I don't feel like I have a lot of personal feelings for many businesses, but like this news made me genuinely sad. So yeah, I mean, there's multiple ArcLight theaters. There's one in Culver City. There's one, in Hollywood, which is the famous one with the Cinerama Dome, which you can see in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's been there since the 60s, I believe. It's 58 years old, I'm seeing. And I have a lot of memories tied to that. And then I also had one in Sherman Oaks, where I live, literally less than a 10-minute walk from my house. So it was just a part of my life for over a decade where, I would plan movies I would go to, but there would also be like, oh, I kind of want to see this, or wait, I didn't realize they're showing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles tonight. And I could just put on my shoes, walk over, be there in under 10 minutes. And they were the first theater where I remember their app being just so easy to pick a seat, order it, walk up, not even need a ticket, and walk in. I mean, it was just the most... I know theaters have caught up with that.
That is the first theater I remember doing that, reserved seating.
Yeah, and I think for that reason, and because this is the one I frequent the most, I still associate it mostly with this theater. And it was just, easy breezy, like doing it. But it was also the things that they would offer there. I mean, they only would show like 3 trailers before the movie, which was a tasteful amount. you know, and then the Hollywood one. I mean, gosh, so many memories. Like seeing 2001 and 70 millimeter in the Dome, and let alone Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Grand Budapest. But they would also have these programs where I remember I saw that movie Vox Lux, which was just such an obscure movie with Natalie Portman. But then after the film, Natalie Portman would come out and say hi and talk about her movie. And after Jojo Rabbit, we did the same thing where we saw Taika Waititi talk about it. And I mean, just, I don't know, it's just such a unique place where you could do those sorts of things. And also I just have a lot of personal memories, of course, there with the last feature film that I worked on. I worked in live action features for about 10 years. And the last one I worked on was Now You See Me. And that's where the premiere was, and I got so close to those guys and all those filmmakers, and they became my friends. And so it was a friendship affair going there for that premiere, and us taking pictures of ourselves outside of the ArcLight Hollywood together and celebrating. And you and I, the first time I think I ever went to the ArcLight Sherman Oaks was when I was living in Woodland Hills, and you and Sean and I wanted to go see Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and the AMC in Woodland Hills. The power was out. So in a frantic sort of move, we were like, well, the ArcLight looks like it has seats. And we went over there, and we had a moment together.
That was 2008. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think I may have gone there with Sean in 2003 to watch Terminator 3.
Sure. Yeah.
And then in 2009, I know for sure we watched X-Men Origins Wolverine there. Mm-hmm. So at least insofar, you have all these fond memories. I just associated with two very bad memories. when I think of the ArcLight, I hear Arms Wide Open playing. And
well, speaking of bad memories, I remember when you wanted to review Dark Tower, and I was like, ugh. But this also speaks to why this place was so cool, because I was like, fine. Like, it was literally starting in, say, 15 minutes or something. And I remember putting on my shoes and walking out my door and taking a picture of me upset and sending it to you. And then I went to the crosswalk, across Sepulveda, sent a picture of me frowning or took a picture and sent it to you. And then I remember I got my popcorn and sat in my seat. I mean, all under 15 minutes. But it was me with my popcorn upset, and I took a picture and sent it to you.
That's hilarious.
That was one of my favorite, actually,
movies that you ever saw.
Well, I don't know about that, but certainly with the podcast, like that I was cracking myself up sending you those upset pictures.
I remember with that movie, because I had just gotten out of it, and I called you, and I was like, you MFer are going to go see this movie. Yep. Because I went.
Yep. No, it wasn't an ask. It was a demand.
Yeah. I was like...
Yeah. And I have to call out, too, as long as I'm just, like, gushing over this place. They showed Terminator 2 there once, and I mean, which was just awesome. Huh. And in the movie, this is the ArcLight Sherman Oaks is in the Galleria, the Sherman Oaks Galleria. And in the movie, of course, when T-1000's looking for John Connor, and the girl goes, I think he was at the Galleria, right? And then he goes, the Galleria? And the whole audience just erupted in, yay! So, yeah, a lot of fond memories there. And realistically, obviously, I believe that will probably be purchased by someone else. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the Dome is going to go anywhere. I think... at the end of an article I was reading where it was saying, maybe hope isn't completely lost. It just looks like they're a little bit back on their rent. And perhaps there's a way to either get it back, or some other company will dip in and purchase ArcLight or whatever, Pacific Theaters, and maybe reboot it or something. But I do think it's worth whatever incarnation it was these past several decades. They just did it well, and those times there for me were really special. So I have like a little bit of more optimism about it today than I did yesterday, but I definitely have to sort of pour one out for what an awesome place it's been.
A lot of memories. Those memories aren't going away. I know. I did see that people online are pleading with filmmakers to come to the rescue, asking like Tarantino and even Christopher Nolan to somehow rescue the ArcLight. So
Well, I know Tarantino. I mean, that would be sort of. He's done that with the New Beverly Theater. That was a smaller theater. I don't know if it was going to have business or whatnot, but it was not in good shape, and he purchased it and turned it around, and now he actually programs it and everything. And, they only show film, which is interesting. So you'll go there, and he'll show a pastiche of trailers to get you in the mood for what you're about to watch. So if you're watching some movie from the 80s, he'll show a bunch of trailers from the 80s. But they're all film, so they kind of look bad.
That's interesting.
But it's kind of cool at the same time, and it's a very thoughtfully run place. So I don't know. I would be curious if he would. I don't know if you'd buy the whole thing. It seems a lot bigger than the New Beverly, but it'd be cool if they all did something.
I think the trick is to appeal to Nolan by saying a hero can be anyone, even a man who buys up a movie theater chain.
He just sort of stands up, sort of like I'm cross-pollinating here, but with Keaton and Batman Returns when the signal goes up behind his...
So we'll see. Maybe there is a to be continued for the ArcLight story.
I certainly hope so.
Speaking of to be continued, and speaking of Indiana Jones,
yes,
Indiana Jones 5 has a release date and a co-star and a composer.
Yeah. So I mean, shoot, this is like July 29th, 2022. So I mean, that's like their rears are in gears. Right?
That means they need to start shooting like right now, right? Like,
yeah, which will be James Mangold directing, not Steven Spielberg, as we've talked about. Who's writing?
I just assumed it was Mangold, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sort of scanning a thing real quick because I know Jonathan Kasdan was on it for a little bit, David Koepp, and they've all kind of backed away. And I feel like I read something with David Koepp saying once Spielberg walked away, he was like, I don't think... It was almost he was trying to be polite. Like, I don't think the new director would want the guy who's connected with the old director here.
Yeah, I don't... All I see is Jonathan Kasdan in the screenplay credits.
Okay.
Kasdan and Koepp. But I'm assuming... This is on IMDb. I'm assuming that's the previous iteration of this.
Yeah.
And Mangold does write his own stuff.
Okay.
Or has in the past.
Well, in Spielberg, I was reading a quote from him the other day, and I think paraphrasing it, he basically said it just wasn't coming together. And so that's why he felt like he wanted to step back. So you wonder then, I mean, this must... Maybe we'll go in not thinking that this was the nugget that Spielberg was working on. I mean, there may be elements of it, but this could be... Maybe Mangold came in with a whole new thing.
I mean, it's weird, and I'm sure we've talked about this, but like the whole Indiana Jones brain trust was Harrison Ford, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and it's weird how it's been whittled down to just now there's just the one.
Yeah.
Right?
And you wonder what Harrison Ford's interest is in it. And I'm not questioning it, but I am curious what it is because, like you say, they seemed like this trio. And even when you look at the behind the scenes, I don't know if you've seen these pictures from Raiders and whatnot, but him and Spielberg just seem like complete buddies.
Yeah.
Just pouring water on each other and just laughing their heads off. And so it seemed if they were to do this together again, it would almost be like a friendship trying to do one last offering together. And with that not being the case anymore, I'm just curious if Harrison Ford still feels like some sort of dedication to this character, or like he like he wants a proper send-off for it, or...
If I were to guess, yeah, I think what becomes clear in any, career-spanning interview that he does is that the Indiana Jones character is very beloved to him.
Yeah.
Far more so than Han Solo.
But isn't that interesting? Because he seems so unsentimental about all of it. But I would love to think that he is, sentimental about this character.
I mean, that's my sense,
Yeah.
And I think everyone involved, maybe not George Lucas, but everyone else involved acknowledged that the fourth one was not as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
And so I think there's just that sense of like, let's go out on something of a high note. I think that's all. But I mean, I don't think he has any illusions about continuing to play the role after this.
Right.
Right. I mean, we're already 13 years past the last one.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So, I mean, I think he knows this is the end of the ride, and he just wants to have the end be just as strong as the beginning. And I wonder, I mean, what the tone is that we can expect, right? Like, I don't, as much as I like James Mangold as a director, I don't associate him with sort of the deftness of, there's like a light touch that the Indiana Jones movies have.
Yes.
I don't associate James Mangold with that.
Yeah, they're such a weird alchemy because they're really violent, yet somehow they still, like you say, they still feel light and like family films. I don't know how, but they do.
Yeah, and so this, like, is it meant to be more elegiac? Is it, like, what's the angle here?
Yeah.
Because the other reality is, like, Harrison is 80-ish. Mm-hmm. I mean, the window is rapidly closing on him being able to do anything, but even what he's able to do, is that what people want to see?
Yeah.
Like let me put it this way. Do we want to watch a movie with 80-year-old Indiana Jones running around swinging from vines and stuff? Probably not. Right. So then the alternative, is it a movie with 80-year-old Indiana Jones just like sitting around like talking about shit that he used to do? Like what is this movie? Or
like confronting mortality.
Yeah, is
like,
that something
we want? Really what we go to Indiana Jones for? Like, yeah. I think there could be a good version of that, frankly, where it's a mixture of all of that. But that is just, I mean, accomplishing that, it's going to take a lot of something.
That'd
be a hard thing to pull off.
So what we know is the female lead has been cast, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, no stranger from Lucasfilm. Right, she was in Solo.
She was L3.
Yeah.
And so the question is she the love interest? And I would say, well, no, because
goodness, I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, Indy's married. I don't think they're going to be like, well, Marion fell into a volcano in the last 12 years, and like they're right. Like we have to presume he's still married.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then is she the villain? So it's like, are they just doing, is she the angry sister of Cate Blanchett? Are they doing like the Die Hard with the Vengeance,
Yeah. Or someone I saw somewhere said she could be one of his former students who calls him into action. I was like, I don't know why, but I kind of like that.
I could buy that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course John Williams is planning to come back and close out the series.
That's just wonderful.
And if nothing else, Brian, I think I texted this to you. I'm like, we have an Indiana Jones score from John Williams to look forward to.
Yeah, that makes me very happy.
One more, because say what you will about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the music slaps.
Yeah, that score is fire.
Yeah, let's not do this anymore. I think that's. I'm listening to us. I'm like, no, we shouldn't do that.
That's funny.
All right. Well, speaking of, and this will be a Disney release completely.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? No, like that's going to be weird too. Because what does the beginning? What does the opening shot look like?
Oh, the Paramount thing, of course.
Yeah. Right.
Ooh. Aw. That was a lot. I just went through the whole grieving process right there. An acceptance. Right. Well,
I think that I mean, assuming they stick to this release date, which even that we'll see because they've had a few already. Mm-hmm. But assuming they stick to it, I mean, we're gonna stuff is gonna start coming out very rapidly about this movie.
Right.
So we will have plenty to talk about between now and then.
I'm sure production photos.
Yeah, the usual,
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of Disney, the question about what's going to happen to Black Widow, Whither Black Widow, has been answered, and it is coming to theaters, but not in the traditional first weekend of May slot that we've come to expect. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's coming out in July.
Yeah, and the big question was, would they put this out on Disney Plus, a la Mulan?
Yes.
Right, and the answer is, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anybody would have predicted. This was the one they kept pushing and pushing, and it felt like this was the one they were saving.
That's right. Yeah. So for $30, it'll be Disney Plus Premium Access. day and date, or you can go to the theater.
Right.
Now, I think when you do the math, that $30, if you've got a family
Right.
of like say 3, then that $30 looks pretty good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If it's just one person, then yeah, just go watch a matinee and you'll come out ahead. But first of all, I should say that as big a Marvel fan as I am, maybe it's just me, Brian, I just cannot muster a ton of interest in this movie.
I'm very interested to hear you say that, because I guess the same, and I think I'm eager to watch it because I like this tune. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whatever this song is that Marvel's putting out.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to watch it, but I can't say that I'm like chomping at the bit for it either. But I will say also, going a year without it,
Yeah.
I might even have a little bit more excitement for it. Like I had like a little break, and now I'm eager for that kind of fun Marvel action.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and the Black Widow film is set in the past. I mean, it's like her origin, but even then, it's set, I think, around the time of Civil War. So I'm kind of like, I want to move forward. Like, I want to know what's happening. Like, that's kind of,
that.
like, and that was honestly, that was my similar feeling with Captain Marvel. But at least with that, it was like, well, we're meeting this character for the first time, so there's the sort of the thrill of the new. But I'm kind of like I don't mind Black Widow. I think she's fine. But I'm just like, I want to see what happens next. Did you, by the way, are you caught up on Falcon and Winter Soldier?
No, I keep meaning to. I definitely will this week.
I'm looking forward to discussing the second half of the season with you.
Yeah, I'll catch up. I'm too behind. I'll catch up so I can watch this Friday's on Friday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But going back real quick to Black Widow, it's interesting that Luca, the Pixar movie, will not be going to theaters.
Yeah, I know the Pixar folks are getting kind of irked by this.
Yeah, but and with no additional fee.
Right.
So on June 18th, and it's, I think.
So this is three Pixars in a row, Brian.
You're right. Yeah. Because Onward was that weird middle ground, right?
I mean, Onward was in theaters for like a day and a half, right? So let's just add that into the pot.
Yeah.
Because it clearly didn't maximize its theatrical, revenues.
Yeah.
But Soul, yeah.
I can understand that, how Pixar must be feeling. I mean, it feels like for them, they're not. What's the rationale? Like what warrants this and what doesn't warrant that? And
well,
obviously they're. Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Like, if any movie was going to get the premium treatment, it was going to be a Marvel movie.
Of course.
Right. So you can see why, and let's all. I mean, Pixar today does not have the same luster that Pixar did, 10 years ago.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a result of
that's not
so many more releases.
Well, and it's not even necessarily a measure of quality. It's just like familiarity,
Sure. And I am sort of understanding what you're saying, but I still definitely hold them above a lot of other.
Oh, sure, yeah, no, me too.
Yeah,
but it's I mean, like Raya and the Last Dragon was not Pixar. But I think we're at a point now where Disney's producing so much other CGI content that your layperson would be hard pressed to know the difference.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually not a bad point. And I wonder if it was a Toy Story movie versus this Luca movie, which nobody knows what that is. I'm sure that has something to do with it too.
Yes, I think when we look at, like, in the last couple of years, right? You have Moana, which is not Pixar, and you have Coco, which is Pixar, and they're both equally good. Well, Coco's like better, but I mean they're both like in that.
I agree with what you're saying though, yeah.
Right? Like I think your average person we're not at a point anymore where the difference even matters to like a lay person, and I think that's a calculation. People are like, I don't want to pay $30 for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's me. That's just me talking.
Now, what about Cruella? That was another one of the big ones that was being mentioned with Black Widow and Cruella coming soon, and I thought Cruella was going to go straight to Disney Plus.
So I'm looking at Wikipedia, and it says, and admittedly it's Wikipedia, so take it with a grain, but it will be released simultaneously on D Plus with Premier Access, and also in theaters.
Oh, so they're charging for that too?
Yes,
All right,
and it is being released end of May.
Okay.
And that's I'm kind of fascinated to know how that movie's going to do. It holds very little appeal to me, but
yeah, me too. I see. That's the thing. If it was in theaters, I could see myself going to see it, but I probably wouldn't get it for $30.
Yeah, right.
Like I would wait a couple months till it was just widely available.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if it was in theaters and it was easier for people to see, if it would get its fan base.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's been funny to read interviews with filmmakers who are, Joker? No, this is totally different from Joker. Like it's
right.
It's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how different that is. Here's one movie, Brian. Oh my gosh! As soon as I heard this news, I wanted to walk into traffic. Actually, that was my genuine initial reaction.
Yeah.
You know those tiny little Easter candies.
Peeps.
Peeps. Everyone hates Peeps. That's one thing I know.
They're like a little marshmallow that, I mean, it's just like a absolute sugar bomb in your mouth.
Yeah, I when I look at Peeps, what I feel inside is the equivalent of hearing Arms Wide Open by Creed. It's that same sense of. So they have announced, Brian, that they are making a Peeps movie. Because the Emoji Movie was not enough.
Right.
It was not enough to signal the degradation of society. We had to go deeper still.
Yeah.
And so now we get it's deeply upsetting. You know why this upsets me? Because I know I'm going to have to watch this movie at some point.
Right.
I'm picturing myself in the theater in a few years, weeping openly, watching a movie about computer animated peeps who are just farting around and singing some stupid song, farting marshmallow stuff. I don't know what they're doing.
You know what I find fascinating about these movies is like Trolls, Emoji Movie, Peeps, Lego Movie, which was good, but it's like these things don't have universes.
No.
So it's like they're just sort of picking something that already exists, and then they have to craft this universe whole cloth for them.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes it works. Like Lego was just hugely imaginative, but they played into what they are.
Yeah.
Right? And creativity and all the ocean was made of bricks and things like that. But something like Peeps, like, I mean, where do you even, like what are we doing?
Well, here's the plan, Brian. It's going to be in the spirit of Trolls and Smurfs. And it's going to follow a ragtag group of Peeps characters who set on a cross-country journey in order to attend Peeps Fest, an annual brand celebration in Pennsylvania. I read that description, and I instantly threw my computer out the window and jumped out after it. A ragtag group of Peeps characters. I'm just going to go ahead and say our main character is like the Peep who, he's unsure of what he wants to do in life. And, he likes this one girl and he's like kind of embarrassed to tell her. And then he ends up together with her on this trip. But he's got his buddy who's like the big beefy Peep who's got a heart of gold, right. But he doesn't know how to express himself. The bad guy's probably like this guy who likes eating Peeps. I don't know. The point is, this is all bad. We don't have a studio attached, but I'm going to go ahead and say Sony is releasing it. Just guessing.
It's funny, by the way? One of the Blueies I watched recently was the dad taking the little boy and the sister to a movie. Mm-hmm. And the boy doesn't like movies. But all his friends do. And he's like, I want to try to like movies, because I'm weird, I'm different. And then they're watching the movie, and the movie's almost like a parody of these movies, where it's like, I can't remember what it is, but it's like an animal that's like, why am I different than the other people? And then you see our Bluey just like, what? It's just like me. And so he gets like kind of into the movie, but the sister is acting crazy and has to go to the bathroom and whatever. So the dad's like, ugh, like taking the girl to the bathroom. And then the boy's like, the boy's like me. And Dad, do you think it's going to work out for him? He's like, oh yeah, I'm sure he's going to figure out that his difference is what solves everything. And then everyone's going to be happy at the end. Let's go. And then, the boy's like, oh, I sure hope so. It's so funny. Peeps. I think you just spoiled Peeps for us. Great job.
What's funny is the other day, we were all looking for something to watch. So I put on Lincoln, the Spielberg movie, put that on. And we got about 25 minutes in, and my youngest, he's 7, and he started acting the fool and just being an idiot, which he does a lot. It's kind of annoying. And so my 12-year-old, completely serious, he's like, "Hey, just stop it. We're trying to watch Lincoln, okay?" And I was like, "That is hilarious." Like, this 12-year-old is so invested in whether the 13th Amendment is going to pass, right? My point is, like, give kids some credit, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to make movies about marshmallow nonsense. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you one person who can make all the movies about all kinds of nonsense he wants, and that is Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
Who has not one, but 2 Knives Out sequels coming out. And these, the first one came out and did very well. Surprisingly, in this age of pre-manufactured IP, he created something new, a new franchise with Benoit Blanc. Mm-hmm. And so the plan was he was going to do sequels, but little did we know that Netflix would swoop in and rob us of the theatrical experience with these movies. Yeah,
just to add to what you just said, I mean, this was a movie that was made for $40 million and went on to earn $311 million. I mean, those things just don't happen that much these days.
So right? Netflix is paying, not $300 million, they're paying $469 million for 2 Knives Out sequels.
Can you believe it? He made like a little mystery novel of a movie, which is great, by the way. Great movie. And now it's become like they're almost paying $500 million for it.
I mean, I'm trying to process that money, and I'm like, does Benoit Blanc have to defeat Thanos and Darkseid? Like, what's the how does that even make sense? Like, how do the zeros add up there? You know?
Man, I don't know, but it's so funny. I'm like of two minds. I'm really glad they're going to exist, and good for Rian Johnson. That's awesome. But yeah, the Netflix of it all is like the theatrical experience of that was really fun because that was. We've talked about this. I mean, when you look at all the films from the 90s, of course there were sequels and there was Batman movies and whatnot, but there was a lot of original movies like Speed and all these sorts of things that we still love to this day. But we feel like we're getting less and less of those movies that cost less than $100 million and aren't based on anything and take the world by storm for a month, right? And Knives Out was one of those movies. And it's it would just be cool to... But you know what? The Irishman was in theaters. Right? But so, I mean, it could be one of those things where they do... well, I mean, that's not maybe necessarily a great one-to-one because that's like a 4-hour movie starring like 80-year-olds. But I was there. But I wonder... I mean, if they put these out in theaters, these would make money. Yeah. So I wonder what Netflix feeling will be with that.
If I were to guess, they will get at least a cursory theatrical release, just for potential, awards consideration, things like that.
Right.
But I mean, Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig are making out like bandits.
Yeah. Yeah. He can dry his tears from any mean Last Jedi tweets with all his $100 bills.
Yeah, I mean, I'm it's ridiculous. Look at this. the pact gave Johnson. This is the Hollywood Reporter. The pact gave Johnson immense creative control. He doesn't have to take notes. The only contingencies were that Craig must star in the sequels and that each must have at least the budget of the 2019 movie, which is in the $40 million range. Sources say Johnson, Ram Bergman as producer, and Daniel Craig stand to walk away with upward of $100 million each. So
Good.
yeah, keep those mean
for
tweets
him.
coming. You know, I'm sure he cares what y'all think of his Star Wars movie.
Yeah, good for him.
You know, I will watch them. Of course, I will watch the Knives Out sequels.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what this like. Will the calculation pay off? You know.
Man, I don't even know how that metric works.
Yeah.
For streaming, you know, where you spend over, you know, you pay Michael Bay to make a Netflix movie, you spend millions and millions and millions of dollars, but people already have Netflix, right? Like, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is working, but yeah, I'm sure they have it figured out.
Well, Netflix is not only they're not only in the Knives Out business, they're also now in the Sony business.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not going to get the sort of the day and date thing, right? They're going to get exclusive rights to Sony films after a certain block of time.
Yeah, so this is Hollywood Reporter. Sony's inked a multi-year exclusive first pay window licensing deal in the U.S. that will allow Netflix first pay window rights to Sony Pictures titles following their theatrical and home entertainment windows. So this is more standard in that sense. So you'd be looking at presumably 4 to 6 months later.
Okay. Sort of like with HBO. I think they get like Warner's movies and Fox movies, but this won't go to Showtime or HBO or whatever. This will go to Netflix then eventually.
But it would make Sony the exclusive streaming home for it would make Netflix the exclusive streaming home for Sony movies. So it's the 5-year pact will begin with Sony's 2022 slate, which includes Morbius, Uncharted, Bullet Train, and the sequel to the Oscar-winning Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. In the future, it will also cover installments from major Sony franchises like Jumanji and Bad Boys. So, in essence, this... I mean, you can see the appeal for both, because I don't think... What does Sony have as far as streaming? Crackle.
Right.
So this gives them their own streaming portal. One presumes that this allows for potentially, you know, original streaming content also, you know?
Yeah, and they don't have to build the infrastructure of any sort of streaming service. I mean, they get to glom onto one that's already in many, 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 many homes. Well,
this is in essence what the same deal they had with Disney. What that Netflix had with Disney.
Like years ago?
Yeah, like we forget, right? Like
that I did forget, yeah.
Right? That was the arrangement.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Sorry.
Wow. How soon we do forget.
I mean, truly, yeah.
So this is kind of taking the place of that.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Now, of course, what this means for future Sony-Disney cooperation, that's what I'm most curious about. Because I can't imagine that the Disney people would be thrilled with Marvel Productions ending up on a different platform. Right?
Yeah, especially one of their most popular characters, Spider-Man.
Yeah, so that's interesting. The economy, the streaming economy, keeps changing. So that's something that's worth keeping an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's take another short break, and we'll come back and you know, there's a movie that's out there right now that's making some noise. Let's talk about that. And we are back, and so are Godzilla and King Kong.
Yes, they are.
I can tell how excited you are. Now, what's funny about this is we're about to do our spoiler wall conversation. I feel reasonably certain about where you landed when it came to this movie. Just because I know you pretty well. But I guess we'll find out. That said, this is already the biggest hit of the post-pandemic era. Or mid-pandemic. We're still in the pandemic, right?
Right.
It is actually a massive hit. In terms of Warner Brothers is looking at entering profit just from the theatrical run.
It's amazing. Yeah, I guess currently 350 million globally.
Wow.
So that's pretty amazing.
That's after a couple weeks, and we're looking at probably another 100 million or so before all is said and done.
And we should note, I mean, this is on HBO Max. Like, people can watch this in their homes, but it's still doing as well as it's doing.
I mean, this does seem like that movie where people are like, no, I want to see that in the theater.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that I probably would have felt it. I mean, look, I was fine with this movie. But, like, I probably would have enjoyed it more on a big screen. Right? I mean, that's definitely... I'm sure that was their thinking, too. Like, as people can slowly now start safely returning...
Right.
With shots and whatnot. Like, let's go... Let's start with a bang.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the last Godzilla movie, the last MonsterVerse movie, did not do particularly well. It was...
I remember that, but to what degree, I don't recall.
Let me see how much that movie made. I'm curious. Because and again, this is just based on Wikipedia, but...
Well, I remember we were having that discussion because we knew that this one had already been shot. And we were wondering... Yeah.
Okay, so the budget for Godzilla King of the Monsters was around $200 million. It made total, Brian, $386.6 million. So Godzilla vs. Kong has already topped that.
Wow.
In the pandemic.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder why that is.
Well, I think the title is the type of thing that would get butts in seats, right?
Yeah.
One wonders if we were talking about an optimal release pattern, how well would this have done?
Yeah.
Did it, like, here's my point. Did it do better because of the delay?
Right.
Or would it have done better had it not been delayed?
Yeah, and also lack of offerings.
Yeah, no competition. Here's my question. Would it have done better if the fight scene at the end had Arms Wide Open by Creed playing?
No doubt.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Yeah. So you already know where I'm at when it comes to these monster flicks.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I'm bought and paid for already when it comes to these movies. Because I'm not expecting much. So what I get, I'm reasonably happy with. I almost feel like this movie is to some extent impervious to criticism.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, I keep thinking, because I want to say, I think almost all the human characters are garbage.
Garbage, like written like garbage?
Yeah,
or
just
the characters themselves?
They're just all whatever. Like, who cares? They're saying stuff. They're like, meh, 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 Godzilla, meh, 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 Kong. You're like, what? I don't care. I don't care what you're saying. You're saying something about something, whatever. Right? That's me. Right. You got Alexander Skarsgård in there, and he's like grimacing, and you got, Kyle Chandler's like mad because he's only in it for 10 minutes, but yeah, it's all whatever. I mean, just barely, right?
There's a scene with him and Millie Bobby Brown where they're like looking at each other deadly serious, and he's just like, I don't know, I'm making this up, but it was just like, Godzilla's out there. Godzilla needs our help. And I was like, I wonder if that was really hard to do. And not just be like, like kind of crack a smile. Because dude, that guy, man, he just brings it. Whatever he shows up in, he just always Chandler's it up, and it's awesome. But I think for that reason, because I felt like for a split second I was watching another movie, but then he's talking about Godzilla. I was like, I wonder if that's just like, if they get to like giggle a little bit after they say cut.
Oh, my thought is, I mean, he probably had a sequel clause from the last one. And I wonder if he's like, oh, I only got to show up for like 3 days and just say a bunch of shit. Okay. Like,
sure. Yeah.
If I'm Kyle Chandler, that's probably what I'd be thinking, You
kidding me? You get the residuals every time this airs?
Yeah. That being said, you tell me, don't you think that they could have very easily just gotten rid of Skarsgård and just made Chandler the guy?
That's what it should. Yes. Yeah. Consolidate a little bit.
Right? But going back to what I was saying earlier, the movie's called Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm like, do you give me Godzilla? Do you give me Kong? Do you give me them versus sing each other?
You're right.
And what do I want? You know?
Yeah.
Come on, and again, it's, am I being, too easy a grader? Maybe. But I mean, it's not my dinner with Andre. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I enjoyed it. It's not a movie I feel compelled to revisit soon. I probably will at some point. But I enjoyed it for what it was. And I did like it better, I think, than the last Godzilla movie, which I also liked. And I know you didn't.
Yeah, you know what's funny is because the humans were acting so crazy. Like, that movie felt so silly. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I was prepared for how silly the villains would be and everything. But this movie's silly too, but this was more fun. Right?
Yeah.
That's my memory of it. It's very, very foggy. But
it's weird, because we've recorded... We really what we wanted to do, Brian. We wanted to pay homage to how many times Godzilla vs. Kong was delayed in theaters, so we delayed our podcast discussion. So yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time picking out specific plot points that would make me go yay or nay. But just generally, the movie ended, and I watched it at home on my big TV, so it was nice. But I have a feeling, had I seen it on a big old IMAX screen, it probably would have stayed with me even more.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with that.
Reasonably certain of that. But it gave me what the title promised. I certainly I like the world that they've built up with these. And I was thinking about how I'm like, other than the MCU and the doll universe, what you're talking about? What's the doll? Insidious? Is that it? Insidious?
Oh, Saw.
No, not Saw.
Oh,
the other, the little talking doll.
Oh, the evil doll. Yeah.
What is it?
That feels right. Insidious. Conjuring.
The Conjuring. Is it Conjuring?
Yeah.
It's the Conjuring. The Conjuring universe. What is
all the horror fans of ours are just weak.
I know, seriously, this is embarrassing. What's the name of that
talking
little
about
doll?
Yelling at the podcast, like, oh, come on.
What's the name of the doll, though?
Like Jessica or something? I don't know.
It's like Brittany.
Yeah.
Claire? No, I need to...
Dwan?
Annabelle.
Yeah, she has her own movie.
She has her own... That's my point. So this is a long way to get here. But other than the MCU and the Conjuring verse, is there another movie universe right now that's as successful as these?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hard to think of one, right?
Yeah.
That's because this is the fourth one. I don't know if this is the end, but the movie ended, and I was like, well, I'd be down for more movies in this universe.
Totally.
Now, that said, if there were no more movies in this universe, I would be just fine as well.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, all right, so Kong's doing his thing, and all right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, I feel like we're actually kind of on a similar page, but I might have a couple more shrugs.
I think that's probably... I think that was my expectation. I was like, I don't think Brian's going to tear into this, because, you can't.
No, I don't hate it at all. It's... You know what it is? I am realizing just through, people we're friends with and you and just seeing a lot of comments and stuff and people having really opinions on these characters. I just feel so outside of this fandom. And I think that's totally awesome for people that, I don't know where I missed it growing up. I just didn't watch these movies, but I don't really have an attachment or an opinion even on these characters. Mm-hmm. And so... I mean, I thought the fights were big and fun, and I liked the neon lights and everything, but it wasn't, for me, anything I didn't see in Rampage.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and even Rampage, I remember thinking, well, I didn't hate it.
Right.
It's fun to watch gargantuan fantasy sort of craziness and whatnot. But also, because I don't have that connection with the characters, I don't really care either.
Right.
So it's entertaining on a surfacey level for me in the moment, but I don't feel connected with it, and I don't think about it afterwards. It was a moment that was kind of interesting, I thought was cool, was when Kong's heart is failing him, and so they use a spaceship as a defibrillator.
Right.
Which is hilarious. And that feels like a set piece. But in
Right.
a movie like this, it's just 45 seconds of
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no fluctuation between the small and the quiet moments. It should be like, I think this is going to work. Is this going to work? And like, damn, they rested a spaceship on top of Kong's chest, and now they got to get off the chest before it goes off. And why isn't it start? Like, you can make like a whole thing out of it that I think I might respond to a little bit more. But like, that's just not what this is. So it's like, I'm not mad, you know?
I mean, to that point, because I rewatched the films, the preceding films, before this one came out, and the 2014 Godzilla is so like grounded, it's like Christopher Nolan's Godzilla,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and then in this, it's like, so we have a whole like civilization or like a whole ecosystem at the core of the Earth. Oh, okay. Well, how do we get there? Oh, we got this like spaceship here that just inverts gravity. Oh, okay. Like, I was like, wow, okay, so we're just doing that,
Yeah, and you know what? There wasn't 1 second where I was upset about that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I was like, whatever. I was like, why is there light at the center of the Earth like there's a sun? I don't know. Like,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And then, if I remember correctly, when Kong is in the center of the Earth, Godzilla uses his radiation breath to blast a hole all the way halfway through the planet. And then Kong climbs his way up in a couple minutes. And I was like, sure, like, let's do it. Like,
you know what's funny is for all the Save Mothra jokes.
Yeah.
That, like, basically the moment this movie was announced, they started.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, the third act basically is Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the funny thing. They fight each other, and then they team up against the worst guy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're totally right.
And I'm not saying that's a flaw. I'm just like, that's amusing to me that really the only thing missing was Save Mothra, I don't know what we can say about this movie. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, no, I just, yeah, that's the best way I can put it, is like, I enjoyed the really, really dialed up to 11 whole thing. I just don't feel anything because I just don't have feelings for any of these characters, and the humans aren't helping. So I was like, yeah, like, if you make another one of these, of course I'm going to watch it. You know what I mean? And I'll enjoy it in the moment. And I think, yeah, that's kind of where I leave it. And you know, was another line that was really funny, by the way, that made me laugh was when Millie Bobby Brown, I don't remember where she started, but she's talking to her dad. She's like, hey, Dad, I'm in Hong Kong. Anyway, da-da-da-da. That's right. I was like, what? Wait, I can't remember where she started, but that feels like there'd be more follow-up questions.
Yeah, where is she at the beginning of the movie? That's a good point.
I don't recall.
I should look that up.
You know who I did love, though, was I don't remember the character's name, but the girl who does the sign language.
Oh, she was great.
She's like, I was like, dude, this girl was like giving like an Academy performance.
And she is deaf in real life.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, she was so emotive and just looked genuinely sad. I mean, it's child actors. Like, I'll never blame a child actor for not being great. Like, it's not fair. I mean, they're just, some kids have this weird chip that they're given where they can just fake these emotions at such an early age of their life. And and some can't. And I thought she was so, she was one of the really stronger child actors I feel like I've seen in a long time.
She was very good, yeah.
Yeah,
it's weird, and I like Alexander Skarsgård normally, and I don't think he's bad in this movie. I just, the character like didn't really work for me because it was just like plug and play,
Oh yeah.
Oh, your brother died. Sorry about that. Anyway, come. It's like, what is that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like they got to give him something.
Yeah, which again, going back to what I was saying earlier, like you've already got Kyle Chandler on deck,
right?
Just slot him in there, and we've got some investment in him because he's Coach Taylor. God damn it! How can he not? He has clear eyes, full heart.
That's right.
He can't lose. And then you can get a little chemistry going with Rebecca Hall, who I think she's another one of these people. Like, she's always fine and everything. Like, you're gonna get a good performance,
Yeah.
But definitely there were like a lot of balls in the air that like the evil daughter who doesn't go anywhere.
That was so, yeah.
That's very arbitrary.
I almost
right?
felt bad for her, the actress. She's just really, I mean, stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, of a character.
I mean, and it's not like the dad, played by Damien Bashir, who's like the ostensible villain of the piece.
Yeah, I mean, he feels like he's playing that character as seen in an SNL sketch. However, I will give it to him that he probably knew that, and he was like, well, you're not going to forget me.
Yeah,
like, he,
touche.
he went for it, and he played that guy, and I like him.
I did like Brian Tyree Henry. He always makes me laugh.
Yeah, same, actually. What made me laugh about his thing, though, was basically he's working at this high-level security company, but, like, he's, like, this podcaster with, like, a pretty distinct voice, you know,
Right.
and, like,
It's like nobody catches it.
relatively obvious who this person is. And, like, he's even, like, in there doing all these sorts of things, podcasting from the building itself, and that just made me think that this company isn't really keeping good tabs on
They're not doing a
people.
great job, yeah.
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 Oh, you know what else?
No, go ahead.
I didn't pick. I had to listen to this somewhere else to realize that the character who's, working Cerebro basically in that skull.
Yeah, he's
like,
the
that's
son
supposed to be.
of Ken Watanabe's
Ken Watanabe. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, how about like one line of like, I blame Godzilla for my father dying or something?
Right. Yes, of course. I mean, it goes to seeing that scene of Bruce Wayne looking up and seeing Superman destroying buildings, whether it was his fault or not.
Yeah.
It's like maybe it's there. I don't remember it, but that would be a really I can understand why he would do this, and he'd want to be controlling it.
Yeah, they say, he's Ren Serizawa, and so if you know the names, you're like, oh yeah, it's Dr. Serizawa is the character in the other movies. But what's the connection?
Right.
And Ken Watanabe I thought was so good in both of the previous films. His kind of somebody with his gravitas was missing.
Yeah.
I think Kyle Chandler could have had that if he was in it
Yeah.
for more than like 3 minutes,
Now that you bring it up, I'm remembering his death in that movie.
It was great.
And it's like I remember it all these years later. So yeah, that was a good.
Right, when he goes and he sets off the bomb. Mm-hmm. It was really, like, that was a moment,
Yeah.
All right, well, do we have anything else to say about Godzilla vs. Kong?
No.
Right.
But I mean, it just is what it is, and it's not a bad just throw it on kind of film.
I agree.
Yeah. You could like was tax day's coming up, right? Like you could just sort of wrap that up and you could have that going and then look up once they're fighting and go back to your taxes and then look up again when they're fighting again.
They should put that on the box. The perfect movie to watch in between doing your taxes.
Yeah.
Brian Hall.
Oh, wait, one more thing. There's a scene where they basically got to destroy some sort of like, I don't even remember, like a console, and he has that whiskey. Remember that? And then he pours it into the console to break it. And it
Yes.
reminded me of Homer when he's got to get a new...
Springfield,
He's trying to see Bart.
my God.
Yeah. And he's like, so Homer needs to get a huge shipment into the nuclear power plant. So he just destroys his console by just, with a complete blank face, pouring water over it so it breaks. And
Springfield, no, it says here that you oh God. Oh, dear God.
I was like, yeah, that's what it feels like.
When in doubt, right?
Yeah. Or, what was cool too was when King Kong's shoulder was out of joint and he told like Lethal Weapon.
He does a
kinda,
Riggs.
And he does on the building.
Yes.
But he uses, instead of like a wall, he uses like a skyscraper to knock his arm back in joint.
I mean, to me, Brian, like Adam Wingard, who directed this, he knows what he's doing with this thing.
I completely agree.
Right. Like he's in on the joke, and I love it. And I will say this, I'm partly biased. I'm double biased, right? Because I grew up loving King Kong movies, as you know, because you had to sit there with me while we watched King Kong 76 a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And I appreciate
Which
that.
I enjoyed.
Well, I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
But, this, like, I get to experience the Monsterverse with my kids, and they are just, like, 100% on board. Like, that's the fun stuff for me, is just getting to experience it through their eyes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish we had stuff like this. I mean, there was King Kong versus Godzilla when I was a kid, and that was not like this.
Right.
It's very different. So that is our movie film review of Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making me realize, too, as much as I complain a little bit for no throttling with the action, it's pretty cool we're in a time where the sky's the limit. If you want to see King Kong putting his arm back in joint, or you want to put a spaceship as a defibrillator, like, we can do it all now.
At least the option exists.
The option exists, and I mean, compared with which, again, I liked King Kong 76, but they had to work within boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun for a younger generation just getting to see the level of spectacle they are.
It's, this was a thing I had meant to say in our commentary track, and I just forgot, but it feels relevant now. When they were filming Kong 76 and they're doing the climactic piece on the World Trade Center, you have Rick Baker in the monkey suit and he's standing on top of the replica, and like a piece of the scaffolding fell on top of him.
Oh.
And it like messed up his shoulder, and he thought he was fine. And then several years later, he found out that he had residual like shoulder damage from that time the scaffolding fell on him while he was playing Kong.
Wow. And
I was just thinking, like, it's kind of nice that now you don't have to worry about Rick Baker's shoulder getting out of joint, but you can just have digital Kong just throw his shoulder into a CGI skyscraper and get it all fixed up.
Right.
Technology can be a wonderful thing sometimes. It's good to have the sky as the limit, as long as you know that you don't always have to go shooting right to the sky.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Subtlety is good. Subtlety is good. That's our takeaway from our discussion of Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back in our next regular episode. We'll be talking about Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
And in our next commentary episode, Brian, we'll be talking about Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
So when's the last time you watched the 90s Mortal Kombat movie?
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
Never seen it.
So this is going to be interesting, because the last time I saw it was a quarter century ago.
Wow.
And I'm about to revisit it with my kids.
Yeah.
So we are doing this by request.
Yeah. Sorry, I know a lot of people love this movie, or at least have probably nostalgic feelings for it. I'm looking forward to going back and watching it as an artifact, and from a time, of course, I was alive. So I mean, I love the '90s. I'm looking forward to seeing a '90s artifact.
You're Sam Beckett, Brian. You're time traveling within your own lifetime.
Yeah, that would be a funny Quantum Leap spinoff for like a film critic. Yeah, it's like, one week you get to be the critic who reviews The Godfather, and then the next week you have to review Porky's 2. It's just like week to week, it varies.
With that said, this is just random. I would love to revisit the first Police Academy movie.
I don't know if I've ever seen it not on television in chunks or something.
Yeah, I have not seen it the whole way through since, I think, the 80s.
Yeah.
And I would love to go back to, like, this is what people thought was just goddamn hilarious in 1983 or whenever that was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of curious too.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, was that well received?
I mean,
maybe
there's
not
like
critically,
18
but just
sequels.
by the public?
I mean, they made a Police Academy movie every year for most of the 80s.
Yeah.
So I think there's your answer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
People could not get enough of, Steve Guttenberg's hijinks.
Yeah. Michael Winslow.
And Michael Winslow, yeah. So anyway, I don't know why I'm throwing that out there. That just popped into my head right now. I'm like, that actually might be kind of a fun commentary. So
yeah.
But not this time. Not this day. That is not this day, Brian.
Yeah.
Because next time we talk, we will be talking through 1995's Mortal Kombat.
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right. So what do you want to tell people about?
I am writing for Puppy Dog Pals, Disney Plus, Disney Junior.
Well, and you mentioned that if people reach out to you on Twitter, they can find you. So maybe, do you want to tell people?
Sure. I think it's Everything Brian, at Everything Brian, which is a play on Everything's Coming Up Millhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, no, please feel free. Like I said, I'll get a notification. I'll definitely respond.
Well, there we go. All right, and as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. It's also my website, justadded.com. You can also see my movie reviews at the San Francisco Chronicle and also at IGN. Currently at the Chronicle, I have my write-up about the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which I enjoy quite a bit. And as always, please keep your questions and comments coming. You can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. As always, please go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Haven't had a new review go up in a little while, so I just want to put that out there in the world. If you're enjoying what we're doing, please go to iTunes and spread the word, or Apple Podcasts, I guess is what it's called now, and let people know, because every little bit helps there, and we appreciate all of that. So with that, I will put a pin in episode 222 of the Movie Film Show, but we'll be back soon with our next commentary track, and of course with our conversation about the all-new Mortal Kombat movie coming up later this month. So on behalf of my partner Brian Hall, my name is Aki Hassan. Thanks everybody for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and